If you're a man who was born and you decide to do exactly as you're told, you're going to end up depressed, in debt, working a job that you hate, with a wife who doesn't respect you, with kids who don't listen to you, in a house you don't own, until she leaves you, and then you contemplate suicide a while, and maybe you might find some purpose towards the end, enough to survive and pay your taxes, and then you're gone.
Fast Zone News here, back with more breaking news, and today we're going to be checking out the brand new interview between Andrew Tate and Tucker Carlson. These two sat down at Andrew's home in Romania over the weekend and had over a 2-hour conversation. They discussed a number of different controversial topics, everything from living in the Matrix to Andrew's time in Romanian jail. We'll be making a series of videos in response to this sit down, so make sure you hit the subscribe button below to stay notified. In today's video, we'll be listening to and reacting to Andrew Tate's controversial view on manhood. I agreed with a lot of what he had to say in this video, but I had to call bullshit on a few things as well. But with that being said, let's get into the video.
But yeah, and you just have to be critically thinking. And then after you're critically thinking, you have to be brave enough. And this is the real pandemic of the world, is cowardice. You have to be brave enough to look around you and realize, everything was a trick. Everything was a lie.
But why not be a coward? I mean, it's just a lot easier, right?
Well, it used to be. This is the thing that's interesting. I would actually argue in the 1950s and 60s, if you were to agree with every single narrative and obey every single law and do exactly what you were supposed to do and pay your taxes, etc., you'd at least get a wife who respected you. You'd at least have children who could go to school without being indoctrinated to a degree. Yeah. You could have a nice house. You could have a pickup truck. You could have a pretty good life if you just followed the rules.
Yes.
I don't think that's true anymore. I think that if you were a man especially, and this is what I talk about masculine issues. If you're a man who was born and you decide to do exactly as you're told, you're going to end up depressed, in debt, working a job that you hate, with a wife who doesn't respect you, with kids who don't listen to you, in a house you don't own, until she leaves you, and then you contemplate suicide a while, and maybe you might find some purpose towards the end, enough to survive and pay your taxes, and then you're gone. I don't think a man who just follows the programming is going to find any happiness. But they don't care. Why would they?
Alright, so I'm going to have to call bullshit on this first part. I get that he's trying to motivate people, but every time I hear him talk about this topic, it feels like he's talking down to men. Personally, I think you can find a lot of happiness in this country just by following the simple financial rules. Building your credit, saving money, just as I'm sure Mr. Tate has. I like this guy and I think he's coming from a good place, but I think he should be pushing more financial literacy rather than creating a victim mentality for males. The financial system has certainly provided him with a nice life, so why not try to show his fans how to obtain the same thing. The world can for sure put a lot of pressure on males, but it can also be extremely prosperous as well. Tate knows this firsthand, and that's what makes America so great. Anyone can make it.
Why would they? They have no interest in masculine happiness. This is another thing that's very interesting. They talk about men's mental health all the time, especially in the UK. I'm not sure about America, but in the UK, they had this big drive for men's mental health, saying that men commit more suicides.
A lot more.
Because it's hard to be a man. We commit more suicides, we're more depressed, we have all these mental health problems. I come along, I genuinely get thousands of emails a day saying I'm helping men's mental health. But no, can't help it the way Andrew wants. You can't tell them to go to the gym and stand up for themselves and have pride. What kind of man's going to have a solid mentality and not have mental health issues if he has no pride? That's part of being a man. Part of being a man is proud of yourself. If you wake up and you're not proud of who you are and how you look and the things you say, how are you ever going to have a solid mentality? So when I teach things that genuinely help men's mental health, that's outlawed. No, you're not allowed to do that. Instead, you have to take our version, which is to pretend to care about men's mental health, but not give a shit. Give them a life they know they're not going to enjoy, pay taxes, and die. And men are the backbone.
And medicate them.
And medicate them. Medicate them long enough to keep working. The same way as we medicate farm animals. Just a bunch of injections. Yeah, just keep them alive long enough to get the milk. Milk's gone. Chop the head off. Boom.
They need to put you in prison.
They're trying.
Yeah. I can see why.
They're trying. And it's scary. A lot of people, but then what do? Do I just shut up?
No.
You don't think so?
No, you can't shut up. I mean, because in the end, your self-respect, your dignity is the only thing.
That's right. And this is what people don't understand. People say, Andrew, why are you fighting this war? And they don't understand that war is certain. You either fight war against injustice and you fight war against the things you know that are wrong and you feel good inside of yourself, or you accept the slave programming and fight a war with your own mind. You have to fight something. Yes. I can shut up and believe what I'm told in the news, but then I won't. Why am I so unhappy all the time? Why am I depressed? Why does my life suck? Why does my woman ignore me? Why do my children not respect me? You're fighting a war, then you're fighting a war with your own mind. I'd rather have all of me on side and fight against what I know is genuinely evil. You can't escape the battle. The battle's here for all of us. So I've made my decision, and that's why I can't be quiet, because you just said I would lose my self-respect, I'd lose my dignity, and I don't think I can function that way as a man. And I don't think any man should be able to function without self-respect and dignity. The reason men died on the Titanic was for self-respect and dignity. They went into the icy cold water and died because they would feel honorless if they jumped on the boat and left the women to die.
That's right.
So when you have self-respect and dignity, you have a hard parameter, and you'll do things that which are deemed crazy or insane because you believe in them and you stick up for yourself. And that's why they don't want men to have self-respect and dignity.
Rather be a free man in your grave.
Absolutely. So I can't be quiet, and I'm going to say what I believe is true. And I genuinely believe I'm helping the world. I think that any young man who is a follower of mine, I will argue there's no influencer on the planet besides me who is genuinely benefiting their life. I know you're not big on the internet. I look at these other streamers and these other influencers. They play video games all day. They smoke weed on stream. They talk garbage. It's a bunch of drama back and forth like girls. I'm the only influencer or streamer who's genuinely talking about making money, because you need to have money to escape the matrix. It's very hard to resist enslavement when you have to pay the bills. Getting physically strong, because a strong body is a strong mind. Standing up for yourself. Self-motivation. All these things. I'm talking about genuinely positive things. Very few people are. And I think that is an extremely important message that needs to be told. And I'm not going to stop doing it, because I know I'm genuinely helping the world. And they're going to try and punish me for it for the rest of my life. I think this is just beginning.
I do agree with Andrew here, and I think the majority of the country doesn't acknowledge men's mental health. Everyone just acts like men need to be tough, and I think that creates a lot of hopeless individuals. I'm glad that Andrew noted that making money is important, because at the end of the day, it's the most important. I think the majority of men's unhappiness comes from not being financially independent. In this world, you're taught that a man is the almighty protector and provider, and when you don't have any money, that's a pretty tough narrative to hear. I just wish he would focus more on how he himself became so financially stable, rather than preaching a hopeless existence. The hopeless message can feed men's depression and almost create excuses for their unhealthy lifestyle. Don't get me wrong, this isn't an Andrew Tate bashing video. I actually really like Andrew Tate. You just aren't going to agree with everything everyone says. Overall, he seems like a good guy who's actually trying to help young men. It does feel like he's speaking from the heart, but I think everyone can agree some of his views are a little iffy. But I do want to know what you guys think. Do you agree that no one acknowledges men's mental health? Or do you think men need to toughen up? Let me know in the comments section below. I'd love to hear from you guys. And as I said earlier, we'll be making a series of videos in reaction to this interview. So make sure you hit the subscribe button below and turn on notifications. I want to thank you guys again for watching, and this has been another edition of Fast Zone News. Peace out.